So last session we were able to touch base with the balance of payment. Is Mina here? I would have loved that to be here. At least we can do it together, and so that she can get it once and for all. So we treated balance of payment and components of balance of payment, but we're only able to treat current account. So tonight we'll treat current account, capital account, and we'll move to foreign exchange. So
what of monetary account? Moving to foreign exchange. When you treat current account, treat capital account,
and the financial account. But you know, in class, he didn't teach us financial account. He only mentioned capital and current.
Okay, no problem.
But there are three, because balance of payment is addition of balance of current account, balance of capital account, plus balance of financial account. That is what will give you balance of payment. But in class, you just mentioned capital account and then current account. Yeah. Nigeria is rated as Africa's largest economy. Do we know that? Nobody is saying anything. Let us hype our country now. And Nigeria is also the most populous African country. Okay. Balance of payment has to do with, it has to do with anything that has to do with lending, borrowing, capital flow, capital inflow, capital outflow, international trade, financial transactions. So if all these are going on between government, resident, individual of one country with another country, all these transactions are being recorded in balance of payment. So balance of payment, it gives us it shows us the record of international monetary transactions that took place, the financial transactions that took place, the international trade that took place within a certain period. So that is why it is always calculated every quarter or every calendar year. So, each country can know what to do, maybe to revalue or to devalue, because when price decide, how do I put it? Okay, let me not go into foreign exchange. Let me just continue the way it is. So balance of payments will tell us that, okay, this country has actually saved enough to pay for his import. Balance of payments will also let us know that, yes, this country is actually growing. It will also let us know that, okay, this country, they are not into debt. So balance of payments will also let us know that, okay, the central bank can say, okay, these are the things that will change in the monetary policy. Should we increase our interest rate? What is happening to inflation? What is the deflation rate and all that? So all these invariably, those are the things you consider when as factors affecting foreign exchange. This balance of payment of the thing, or this international economics relations that we are doing, we need to understand some basics first, and that is why if you see the trend, it started from international trade, the theories and FDI before moving to BOP and then foreign exchange. Then it now took us to debt. So if you don't understand how trade works, how importation and exportation work, you might not be able to, understand how BOP works too. Because in current account, yeah, components of balance of payment, there are two, but basically there are three, but he mentioned them two, which is capital and then current account. Don't forget I said BOP is the record of all international trade and financial transactions made by a country's residents. Then, it could also be that you can say a balance of payment is the addition of balance of current account, balance of capital account. So balance of payment too could be in surplus. It could also be.
Sorry, please, can you come again with the last statement?
What's the last statement, please? Just tell me.
Balance of payment is that's where
Can anybody help me? I said is the record of all international trade, international monetary transactions, financial transactions made by countries' residents. Or you can say it is a method in which countries, they measure the international monetary transactions taking place within a certain period. And I said it is always calculated maybe quarterly or at the end of every calendar year. I don't know if I added them.
Thank you.
If I said like now, if I said that balance of payment is a record of all transactions a country does with the rest of the world, would I say it's like it is a record of all transactions done by
yes. All transactions, yes, all transactions, international trade, financial transaction, monetary, anything that happens between Nigeria and other country, your exportation, your importation and all that happens between your country and other country is being captured in the balance of payment.
Okay, so for a period of time.
Sir?
Time.
Sir?
It has a time frame for a period of time.
Yes, it's either quarterly or yearly. You know why it's been done like that. So a country can help them to plan and also know if their economy is stable or not because of the fluctuation in price. If a price as a result of price decrease, the value of exchange rates of one country to another country will appreciate, and if it is the vice versa too, it depreciates. So all these things, it's something that is being tracked. You understand? It is something that is being tracked, and they need to know it to know if they, like now, if you see that your importation is actually greater than your export, you see there is a problem, because by so doing, you are not even locally, you are not increasing your production. You depend on importation. So how do you grow your economy? You're saying you want to grow your GDP and all that. So all these things determine. It's just for you to know how the trend of things. If then again, like the capital account, the financial account now, you want to know, okay, lending and borrowing. If you see that, if the central bank sees that, okay, this our country is actually, we are just acquiring debt, we are just borrowing, we are not lending. If that thing, increases at an increasing rate, at the end of the day, fine, if it is still increasing at, at a normal rate, we might not feel it. But if we start increasing at an increasing rate, that is where the financial debt, the debt crisis comes in. Then we will now say we are into recession. So all these things must be checked. The importation level, the export level, the the receipt and the payment. The receipt is what we receive from other countries. Then the payment is what we pay to other countries. Then if you are lending, that means if you are lending to other countries, that means we have excess, from what we have that we can also lend. Then if we are borrowing more, that means we don't have excess. So all these things just check and balance. Let's see if the way we are going, if it's going to result to economic instability or economic stability. Are we together, sir?
We're following you now. Every year train don't leave with Temeta, they go Oshodi. We are with you.
So the last class, we now mention those things that will be captured. We said the components are capital and current. So we now mention those things that will be captured under current account. We are not able to mention those things captured under capital account. So there, under capital account, you'll be looking at trade, importation, exportation of trade. You'll be looking at service in terms of what you see from transportation, tourism, and all that. Then you also look at the interest, maybe on income or the interest received. You also look at the grant received. Nigerians too, we receive grants, we also give grants to other countries. So the receipt and the payment we have two sides in the balance sheet. We have the credit side and the debit side. So under the current account, the the credit side will capture the receipt, that is what that country received. Then the debit side will capture what that country, what Nigeria is actually doing, what paying money for. So if you are exporting now, of course they will pay you. It will be captured under the receipt side. But if you are importing, you are the one paying, it will be captured under the payment side. Then for the service too, we have importation, exportation of goods and services. The goods could be raw material, it could be finished goods and all that, it could be car, it could be anything. So, okay, for example now, let's say we have okay, let me not go that route. Let me still maintain this lane. So imports will be captured under payment. Export will be captured under receipt, that is credit side. So all these things, what they want to actually get is to know if our payment is actually more than the receipt, or if the receipt is actually more than the payment. That is, if what we are giving out, if it is actually more than what we are receiving, as the country is receiving, or what the country is receiving is greater than what the country is giving out. So now, a country in the current account, if the credit side, the receipt, if it is higher than the payment side, that's the debit side, you will say, okay, fine. At this, the balance of current account here, it is what? It is at a surplus. But if it is at the other way around, you will say, okay, payment here, it is greater than, as in what you are just paying for, it is more than what you receive, then you say the other way around, that it is deficit. So the last class, I now decide to, okay, let's put, and we now decide to allocate some figures. We now put it in front of import. So what I first did was I just scattered everything, import of good, export of good. I want them to arrange it first and see the one which falls under credit side and see the one that fell beside at the debit side. So we're able to get that one first. We now allocated numbers. So when we added up, we saw that the payment side, I couldn't remember. So we found out that the payment side, that's the debit side, is actually greater than the credit side. So we can conclude that in this case, this current account, it is presently at deficit. But if the receipt side is higher than the payment side, then we'll say that okay, this current account is what at surplus. Please, can anyone repeat what I just said? You can recap, just to summarize what I just said now.
Are you saying when the debit is greater than the credit, it means that we're in deficit? But when the credit is greater than the debit, it means we're in surplus.
Yes, sir. So what are those things that are captured in credit side of the current account? And what are those things that is captured on the debit side? We said you'll be looking at trade, you look at service, you look at the income that you gain from your from foreign investment or from any interest. Then the fourth one is grant or aid or gift. So if I may ask, sir, import of goods will fall at which side? Is it on the credit side of the current account or the debit side of the current account?
Debit side.
Thank you. Debit side. Now, radio eaglets, export of service will be recorded at which side? Credit side or debit side?
It's credit side, man.
Credit side.
Credit side. Grant received will be recorded on credit side or debit side? Precious. Is Precious there? Hello?
The receipt sounds like incoming, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's credit side.
It's credit there.
Okay. All right.
Chief
So
is teaching all of them. Chief is teaching all of them. This is Ojoro. Yes.
what did you say?
Chief is teaching all of them.
Yes.
Where am I teaching them? Every time accusation. Cold War has ended since now. What is happening?
It's
So
Cold War is happening.
Allow me for people to be on my side, though. Allow me.
okay, sir. So can we move ahead, right?
Go on.
So for the
Sorry, in addition, that means services are under debit, right?
now a service too could be in form of import, it could be in form of export.
Okay.
So import of service will be recorded on the payment side. Export of service will be recorded on the receipt side.
Yeah, credit. Okay.
So then we have income receipt. So those are those, what you get on the interest in buying stock or the interest in buying bonds and all that. So if are you with me? Then we have unilateral transfers. That's the gift, the aid, and all that. So you can say that unilateral transfer, it can be unilateral payment or unilateral receipt. So if it is unilateral receipt now, it is what you received, the grant, the aid that you received. Then if it is unilateral payment, that is the grant, the aid you also give to other countries.
We are feeling you. We are feeling you. Go on.
Okay, sir. So the current account is composed of 4. You look at the merchandise trade, that is the goods here, importation and exportation of goods. It could be raw material, it could be manufactured goods, bought or sold, imported or exported. Then we have services like tourism.
Yes, sorry, lecturer, please. So whenever we see anything merchandise, be it export or be it import, is it a visible, can we call it a visible thing, things we can see? Not like services.
Yes, they are visible because you can see them, but services, you can't see them. So that is why services are invisible, why goods are visible.
Okay, man. What of transfer and payment? Those ones, are they visible or not invisible?
It depends on how you want to see it, but they are invisible. They are invisible.
Adomego.
So if Brasak transfer money to me now, is invisible.
I don't know what happened between you and transaction. It's invisible.
Okay. But if I go and withdraw it from ATM now, hold the money, it is visible.
I can see the money.
Okay, go on. We're learning. Thank you very much.
Oh my goodness. So under capital now, capital account includes, lending, be it long term, be it short term, purchase of assets, sales of assets, foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment. So all these are captured under capital account. And there's this way capital account work. If we, at the end of the calculation, because you have to do current account first, when you get the value of current account, I'm talking about balance of payment in general now. Once you do the calculation of balance of payment first, balance of current account, then you do that of capital account, financial account, you add it together and get balance of payment. So in the current account now, if the debit, if the payment is actually more than the receipt, which we say there is deficit, it is the surplus in the capital account that will be used to clear that deficit in the current account. Are we together?
Yeah.
Chief, did you get that? Okay, let's move on.
Chief has gone to cash from ATM. Yeah.
You short. We are together. So, in capital account, this is where international capital transfers are recorded. You understand? So, buying of assets, you know, borrowing, lending, capital transfers, all these are recorded in the capital account. So anything that has to do with inflow and outflow of capital, they are being recorded in the capital account. So capital account, it's in the balance sheet, it has the debit side and the it has the debit side and the credit side. So if on the debit, so if you are lending now, it will be recorded under at the debit side. But if you are borrowing, it will be recorded at the credit side. Are we together?
Don't be angry. I bet. Why should that one be capital? The money we use in the merchandise, that one will be capital.
Capital past capital. Here, we are looking at investment. We are looking at hot money. We are looking at big push. We are looking at how, we are looking at FBI. We are looking at FPI here.
Okay, because government is involved for that one. Is that? Because why I'm asking this question is that they say long term.
Where government, now, at least we have rules and regulations now, like on import duties, on tariff, on quota, and all that. That is how they captured capital accounts, sir. Okay. It has to do with, buying and selling of, assets. It has to do with lending. It has to do with, inflow and outflow of capital.
Okay, because me as a contractor, we always be waiting for capital money, capital budget, capital expenditure. So that's where I want to clear. Let me know where this money, government will tell us, say, in the capital budget, releases and all this.
To collect the money, I never see anything for my side.
That's why they tell you that the capital is in short, is in deficit. That's why you have not seen it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So how do we balance it?
So what are you doing for them? Do you have any project or investment for them?
Project.
You have project.
Yes.
It will require what's it called now? Approval. Now, have they approved it? Don't worry, your money will come out.
Okay.
So, can I move ahead, Chief?
Where I'm doing this, my accountant have been cheating me. Now I'll be doing my current and the capital account. Please teach us well. Thank you.
For those accounts that you're talking about, that one is different class, Chief.
I don't understand, Chief.
This one are the nation's accounts. It will not show you those expense and income that you want to see, that your accountant is cheating you about. You can go ahead, though.
Okay, sir. So, under capital account, so those are the things recorded. You look at investment to another country, investing from another country. You look at the external reserve, if it is actually increasing or decreasing. So if it is increasing, you say, okay, it will be recorded at the debit side. In this case, if it is current account, all those things that sound, positive to a country are being recorded on the credit side. But in the capital account, of course, if you are lending, it's a good thing, isn't it? But it is not recorded at the credit side here. It is recorded at the debit side. If a country has, if their if their reserve, you know, if their asset is increasing, you know, it's a good thing. So if it's being this one, it is being captured at the debit side and not the credit side. So this one too has surplus and deficit. So if how do I explain it? If the other side, if the debit side is
just a question. I know the last class when we took this part, the current, either of the two had different, what's it called, terminology used when they have more, as in when your, what's it called, when your payment side is more than the receipt side. I know one used deficits and what's the other name for the other one? I've forgotten, but maybe if I check my notes. And he used another term, the other one, surplus. Yeah,
I've said it here now, Abdulrazak. I've said it here now. We've mentioned deficit, we've mentioned surplus. Where are you? Where were you?
Capital.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, I think in the class, the man used different terms. But I'll check. Let me check. You can go ahead. I'll check and see what I
Let's confirm before moving on. So let me get what you're saying. Abrazak, check.
Sorry, my handwriting is tiny, so okay, capital, credit, debit items.
Before Razak goes stammer finish, make I ask my own question. What do they mean by this? When they say net, if you are talking about like capital account, you say, okay, this long-term capital receipt or private and other receipt, you always talk about the net. So is it, they use the net, this thing, they don't use the gross, or they use the either the net profit or the net loss. Is that what it means?
Let me get what you just said now.
In the capital account, when they say the recording, you record the net, you record the net. What I'm saying now is, are they not? Is it the after the transaction, you use the net loss or the net profit? You don't use the gross figure. I don't know, because I have with me that says
that's how it's being captured. They use net.
Net of what? Net of what? Let's assume now that we are getting a grant of about 50 million naira. So in that grant, or is they saying that there are some expenses or some things that will be removed before it will come to net instead of gross?
You know, when we're talking about net now, net is you are subtracting something from something big. Like now, if they say, okay, net investment value, how do you calculate net investment value? You just have to subtract your depreciation from your gross capital expenditure. So in capital account, that is what they capture. They capture net.
Okay, so something ought to be removed before they capture that net.
If that is, yes, that is how they will get the net, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I still can't find that part, but once I get it, I'll let you know.
Let me, okay. Is it that what you want to say is, if, okay, now let's say the capital, now if a country is exporting capital, you say is running a deficit capital account. Is that where you're going?
Something like that, but I think he used a different terminology. That was what I was just trying to refer to.
What was with the terminology now?
No, maybe in the current account you use like
because in the current account, if you are exporting now, it will be if your export is actually more than your import, or if your importation is more than your export, you say okay, it is deficit. But in this case now, if you are exporting capital which is positive to your side, then you say that the capital account is deficit. Is that what you're saying?
He's lost.
Let's go ahead.
Rasak is lost in thought. I beg, go ahead. Let us do other ones. Tomorrow, his thought will come back. We'll start. I beg.
I know it should have been, better, because Abrazak knows what he's doing.
He's lost in thought. Go ahead. What is
final answer?
I want to ask this question. When they say monetary account,
the East Bloc has it. For now, yes, let's leave it like that. When the West Bloc, when they come back, they will definitely send them away. I said, don't worry, Chief.
Chief, you're saying something.
There's like monetary accounts. When they say changes in foreign exchange reserves, use of IMF credit or other monetary fund or other monetary items, what does this signify in? When you say monetary account, what does it mean? Is there anything? Is monetary account existing or is not? Because I saw somewhere they say monetary account, they said changes in foreign exchange reserve, 2, use of IMF credit or other monetary items. Maybe you said something about our foreign reserve. Can we call it is our monetary account?
You see, when we're talking about reserve, we are looking at assets, and there are some assets that could be converted to cash immediately, while some cannot be converted. It takes months to be converted to cash. Though I didn't really get your answer, I just want to explain what exchange reserve.
Let me help you with my question. They said management of the reserve and other monetary functions of the system, drawing from the reserve is what is called part of monetary account when exchange rate is not favorable. You get this thing, what I said now. Management of the reserve and other monetary functions of the system, drawing from the reserve we have, that is reserve, is part of what they call monetary account when the exchange rate is not favorable. Do you get something like that? So what I'm saying that,
sorry, I think I need to speak this for my husband is at the gate. Please.
Okay. Sorry, Chief, you can go ahead. Then you can take that question.
Okay, now, let me do something small. They say that like now, capital account is the long-term capital received by.
Sorry, if you can hear me, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Hello? Hi. Can you hear me? Hello,
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay.
I hear you, Chief.
Okay, let me say something now.
Yes, sir.
Capital account. They said that capital account is the long-term capital received by government, which is net, because it is receipts minus payment. Government as an entity also pays, so it can be positive or negative. Government is involved in trade with the rest of the world. Long-term are for investment purposes. Example, Chinese government investing in Nigeria is a capital long-term investment. It is also common where indigenous or motley firms, that's private corporate bodies, who have established outside their domain, example, Globalcom, is indigenous. But
Hello. Sorry, I just came back. Oh, my network. I don't know why.
So what do I do? What should I do to continue? Hello?
Sorry, because when I hear if you give me the question, the thing just went away like that. Yeah, I just came back now.
The question I'm saying is this.
Okay.
What is a monetary account? But based on explanation given here. So I want to bring, I think, they said management of because in the monetary account they mentioned, they said monetary account is changes in foreign exchange reserve and use of IMF credits or other monetary items. But they want to explain it further. They said management of reserve and other monetary functions of the system. Drawing from that, the reserve is part of what we call monetary account when exchange rate is not favorable. So I now ask the question, can we say that our foreign reserve is regarded as a monetary account based on what they said? Or what is a monetary account?
From my understanding, when they deal with monetary, yes, it has to do with your currency, as in currency of the nation, and part of the functions of the central bank. So when they make policies around money, so which should also relate with the foreign exchange, then we're talking about monetary. So, but when it comes to monetary policy, which one are you referring to now? Monetary account?
Yeah, so you have already answered. So which means whenever it involves to reserve how much we have, what is the role of exchange rate and all whatnot, it means that is a monetary account.
Exactly.
Okay, that's you have already said, answered what I wanted to. So they said it's not favorable when the exchange rate is, when the exchange rate is very high, it reduces the reserve. And when the exchange rate is low, it makes the reserve to be high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think again, when it comes to the reserve, is actually what's maintained by the country, just for you to have a buffer. Most times when you do international trade, and when you import more than the exports, eventually you fall back to your reserve, to make up for that difference. So that's why in most cases it will be unfavorable for that purpose. Well, like you said, when the export is small, that means you will be earning more FX, foreign exchange. So that should be favorable for the reserve. I hope
Okay.
that is.
Yeah. No problem.
Oh, confusing in one way.
No, I'm true. I just wanted to correspond with what I have here.
Okay, sir.
Like the one they talk about capital account, they made the paper is saying that capital account is the long-term capital received by government, which is net, because it is receipt minus payment. That's what I asked him.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
asked,
It's long term because yes, capital will always be long term in nature. But again, for you to have the net, it means whatever you are having, as capital, which should be your own money that you invested. Likewise, money invested in your country, which then again, what you have outside, which could be, okay, when you're going to get loans and all that. So if you're getting loan, it means you are asking for money to finance some things, and it's not actually your money. So you need to now net that from what you have. So eventually, what you have after the receipts and payments is what you can actually lay your hands on as your balance in capital accounts.
good. That's what I asked Rahmat the other time. Say, because they made us to know that.
I'm back. Oh, I'm back. I actually went to open the gate for my husband.
So, because the capital, she made us to know that what you are recording in the capital should be the net. That's what brought about when I asked a question, is there any payment that will make us to get a net? But from every indication now, it shows all receipts minus payment will now give you that net, which is what you have explained to now, that this is what we are going to be recorded as in our capital account. So I'm getting example.
So those things that will reduce your capital balance will definitely be things like the borrowing, money borrowed, investment from another country, then decrease in external reserve. Those are the three items mentioned. While yes, the money you lend out to another country, like Nigeria could do to countries like Guinea or so, investment to a country, our investment outside, an increase in our external reserve.
Okay.
Those are the items given.
Did you get that?
Okay, because here is explained something here. Now let me read it. I said, it is also common where indigenous or mostly firms, private corporate bodies.
Note? Sir, is it in the note or you solved the internet?
Is in the note.
He has his own note.
Because me, I don't have complete notes. So most of the things I just say it up, and so I'm with you, sir.
They are talking about they are talking about two things in the capital account. Number one, we have talked about the long-term capital. So they are using a second option. They said it is also common where indigenous or mostly firms, private corporate bodies who have established outside their domain. Example, Globalcom is indigenous, but is set up outside Nigeria. MTN, which is South Africa, but is in Nigeria. So the balance is putting what the firms put into Nigeria minus what is taken out of Nigeria, then you have what is called the net. So is that statement correct?
Yeah, it's correct, sir.
Yes, it's correct, sir. But from what you just explained now, can you tell me, you said MTN, they've come to invest here. So in that kind of investment now, can you tell us the difference between FDI and the foreign direct investment and foreign portfolio investment, and where is it going to be captured? Is it going to be captured in the current account or capital account?
It's in the capital account because one, foreign direct investment is like MTN investing in Nigeria. So what they brought in and what they realized, there's supposed to be a difference. And that difference is the net that's supposed to be recorded.
And the FPI.
Don't quote me. Don't quote me.
Let's just call it a day. It's 10:42 already. We would have loved to treat foreign exchange, and but
we'll do that tomorrow.
I would have loved the class to be more than this, because under the exchange rate, who also Abrazak said I should try and treat a past question.
In fact, I noticed the past question. FDI is a common customer.
Thank you. FDI, international capital movement. So there are two ways in which capital moves.
I beg. Is it the one that is looking for Abakiri? FBI.
Foreign direct investment.
Okay, investigation. This one is foreign direct.
Okay.
So that question is always repeated. They will ask you the determinant. They will tell you. They will ask you why an investor will want to come in. They will ask you the disadvantage, the advantage. So capital movement is for sure.
When you do this thing, you are going to write this thing down. Number one, vent for surplus hypothesis. What does it mean? Write it down. You will teach us. Vent for surplus hypothesis.
I have done that on Twitter. International trade. I've done that. I've talked about mercantilism, vent for surplus, imitation lag, comparative advantage. Which other one?
Product cycle theory.
Product cycle theory, whereby when you export, you import. At the end of the day, your import becomes export again. We've talked about product cycle. We've talked about dumping graffiti.
What I don't say explain to me now. I said Linda theory, economic of scale, monopolistic competition, reciprocal dumping, and the gravity model. Just have all of them in mind. You will still teach.
Towards the exam, Abi, because that was the first one that we taught.
Are they still remembering it? If I ask question now on any of them, Rasak will tell me till tomorrow. So
he will tell you now, because those things we are just using example. Take for example the trade graffiti now. You consider that neighboring country that you know that, okay, come, we have the same when it comes to per capita income, when it comes to geographical location, we are not really far from each other. So you know what, let us just trade together. You understand? Let's not disturb ourselves. So that one is captured on that trade graffiti. Then that dumping one is when investor will come in and say, okay, is this the price of coke here? Let us even slash our own price, what we are bringing. What they want to do is, because they want to displace the local producer. So they will now decide to reduce their own price. So people they want to gain recognition, they want to gain relevance. So after they've achieved that, they will now do what? They will now withdraw and go back to the normal, price. But the thing is, they want to enter, and price really goes a long way. So that is it, sir.
Okay, thank you for today. I don't know why no limit they talk now. I mean, this class is a deaf and dumb class. Okay. Or if others are getting it, I'm the only one not getting it, maybe.
You read beyond the class, so you are ahead of our class.
Which is that class? Am I a student?
You're a lecturer.
You don't
okay. 47.
It's night.
Yeah.
So, Chief, tomorrow, whenever we are having class, hope you are going to take us on foreign exchange.
Foreign exchange, what?